10 habits of highly successful people. Part 1. Habit 1, relentless self-discipline. Let me tell you something right off the bat. Success don't care how you feel. It ain't waiting on your mood, your comfort, or your excuses. It answers to one thing: discipline. You see, highly successful people don't just have talent, they have relentless self-discipline. That means doing what needs to be done, even when you don't feel like doing it. Let me take you into the mind of somebody who's going places. They get up early, not because they love mornings. They get up early because their dream ain't sleeping. They show up when no one else does. They finish what they start. And most of all, they learn how to tell their emotions. You don't run this. Now, that ain't always easy. Discipline feels like sacrifice in the moment, but baby, it pays out like nothing else. Think about it. You ever seen somebody successful who only worked when they were motivated? No, because motivation is emotional. Discipline is foundational. When I was broke, sleeping in my car, eating dollar meals, doing stand-up in places that barely had a mic, I had nothing but discipline. I wasn't performing because I felt great. I was performing because I had a vision bigger than my current situation. That's what self-discipline gives you: consistency over chaos. Discipline says, I don't skip because I'm tired. I don't quit because I'm scared. I don't slow down just because it's hard. And here's the secret: most people overlook. Discipline gives you freedom. That's right. It ain't rules that trap you, it's the lack of them. When you wake up on purpose, eat on purpose, move on purpose, speak on purpose, you become unstoppable. Let's break this habit down practically. 1, daily non-negotiables. You need 3 things you do every single day that move your life forward: workout, prayer, journaling, strategy time, whatever aligns with your vision. 2, distraction management. Discipline ain't just about doing more. It's about saying no to what drains you. Every scroll, every lazy convo, every toxic interaction, it's a thief. Good. Mastery lives there. 2, 4, accountability. Find someone who holds you to your highest standard. Not your comfort, your calling. Listen, success ain't always about being the smartest. It's about being the most consistent. When the fire in you burns hot enough, you won't wait on the world to tell you when to show up. You'll get up with your own alarm, run your own race, and clap for yourself when no one else shows. Because at the end of the day, talent is a gift, but discipline, that's your superpower. And when you develop it, when it becomes your default, there ain't a storm strong enough to shake you. Part 2, habit 2, vision-driven living. If self-discipline is the engine, then vision is the fuel. You can hustle all day, grind all night, but if you don't know where you're going, you're just wearing out your tire. Highly successful people don't wake up wondering what to do. They wake up already aligned with a clear vision. They're not just busy, they're intentional. They live on assignment. Let me tell you what vision does. It becomes your compass. It tells you what to say yes to, and more importantly, what to say no to. When your vision is clear, distraction loses its power. See, a man with a dream walks different. A woman with vision don't entertain nonsense. They ain't looking for approval, they're looking for alignment. Now here's the key. Vision don't come from your eyes, it comes from your spirit. Sometimes you gotta sit in stillness, block out the noise, and ask yourself, what did I come here to build? Who did I come here to become? And that answer, that becomes your why. And once you know your why, baby, your how will show up. Let's break this down practically. 1, write the vision plainly. Don't just think about it. Write it on your wall, in your phone, on your mirror. Speak it daily until it becomes your lifestyle. 2, review and refine. Vision evolves as you grow. Don't be afraid to update the dream as your clarity deepens. Reverse engineer it. Start from the end. What does the final outcome look like? Now walk it backward to daily habits. 4, protect it fiercely. Everybody won't understand your vision. That's okay, it wasn't given to them. Stop explaining your dream to folks who ain't qualified to advise it. Now let me tell you what kills vision: comfort. You can't have a big vision and a small tolerance for discomfort. You gotta stretch. You gotta be okay with being misunderstood. You gotta chase what you see in your heart more than what you see in your account. Because when you got vision, you ain't just gonna work, you're building legacy. You're not just posting content, you're speaking to souls. You're not just surviving, you're leading a movement. And listen, vision don't always shout. Sometimes it whispers, sometimes it shows up in quiet moments. But once you recognize it, honor it, live it, run toward it. Because highly successful people don't chase trends, they chase truth. And that truth, it lives in their vision. Part 3, habit 3, mastering the morning. You want to know a secret about successful people? They don't wake up and react to life, they wake up and command their day. Let me tell you, mornings matter. That's where champions are made. That's where discipline is sharpened. And chaos gets tamed before it even starts. Knock it. You ever notice the most focused people, the most intentional ones? They don't just get up, they rise with purpose. See, your morning is your foundation. And a shaky foundation can't hold greatness. The ones who win big in life, they understand that how you start start determines how you finish. They don't grab their phone first thing. They don't let the world pour in before they've checked in with themselves. Here's what successful mornings look like. 1, quiet before noise, a moment of stillness, prayer, gratitude, silence. Before the text, before the notifications, check in with heaven and with yourself. 2, movement before madness. Get your body moving. Walk, stretch, gym, dance. Don't matter how, just move. Motion creates emotion. 3, fuel before frenzy. Drink water, feed your body something clean. How you nourish yourself shows how much you value what you carry. 4, plan before pressure. Write out what matters most. Set the tone before life tries to do it for you. It's in those early hours where you separate yourself, where you do the hard thing first, where you beat the sun at its own game. Now, I know what you might be thinking, but I'm not a morning person. That's not a fact. That's a belief, and beliefs can be rebuilt. If you want to go to the next level, you got to stop letting your feelings drive the bus. Start letting your vision steer the wheel. And you don't have to wake up at 4 a.m. to be great, but you do have to own your morning. You have to claim it before the world does, because if you don't shape your day, somebody else will. And baby, you weren't born to live reactive. You were born to lead. And leadership starts in your morning, not in your title, not in your paycheck, not on your stage. It starts the minute you open your eyes and say, let's go. I've got purpose to walk in today. So tomorrow, set the tone, light the fire, make that morning yours. Because highly successful people, they don't snooze on their future. They wake up and build it. Part 4, habit 4, protecting your circle. Let's be real. You can have all the ambition in the world, all the vision, all the grind, but if you're surrounded by people who drain you, doubt you, or distract you, you're building on a cracked foundation. Highly successful people protect their circle like their future depends on it, because it does. Listen to me. Your environment is either fertilizing your growth or suffocating it. There ain't no neutral. You ever wonder why some folks never level up? They stay stuck in the same drama, same mindset, same mess, year after year. Not because they ain't smart, not because they don't want more, but because they refuse to leave the room where they stopped growing. Now, I know that's tough, especially when that room is filled with familiar faces, family, old friends, folks you grew up with. But listen, loyalty to the past cannot cost you your future. You can love folks without letting them lead your life. You can care for them without shrinking for them. Let me tell you what successful people do. 1, audit their circle regularly. They ask, who speaks life into me? Who challenges me? Who supports me when I ain't performing? 2, set boundaries, not walls. Not everybody needs to be cut off, but some folks need limited access. Your peace is your responsibility. Through it, invest in high-vibe relationships. Mentors, visionaries, folks who pray big and dream bigger. If you're the smartest person in your circle, baby, you're in the wrong circle. 4, limit emotional debt. If you constantly feel drained after talking to someone, that's a bill your future can't afford. Look, this ain't about acting superior. It's about honoring your assignment. You weren't created to fit in rooms that shrink your voice. You weren't designed to water down your dreams so others feel comfortable. And I promise you, when you get intentional about your circle, everything changes. Your energy, your creativity, your confidence, your faith. Some people will try to guilt trip you for growing. That's okay. Let them talk. You ain't rude, you're rooted. You're not arrogant, you're aligned. And you don't owe anyone access to a version of you that no longer exists. Because highly successful people, they don't just protect their time, they protect their space, their peace, their purpose. So check your circle, trim what's toxic, feed what's fruitful. And remember, you become what surrounds you. So choose people who remind you of where you're going, not just where you've been. Part 5, habit 5, emotional resilience. Let's go deep for a second. Success ain't just about strategy. It's not just about routines and goals and checklists. It's about how you respond when life hits you in the mouth. Because baby, life will hit you. That's not a maybe, that's a guarantee. Highly successful people, they don't avoid the storm. They build the emotional muscle to walk through it without falling apart. Let me put it plain. You gotta learn how to be unshakable when the ground moves. You ever met somebody who stays calm under pressure? Who doesn't spiral every time there's a setback? That's not magic, that's a habit. That's emotional resilience. And emotional resilience doesn't mean you don't feel pain. It means you've trained your soul to respond, not react. It means you've built a core that doesn't break when the surface cracks. Let me break this down for you. 1, process, don't suppress. You feel it, but you don't live in it. Feel the frustration, the fear, the sadness, but don't set up camp there. Name it, process it, then redirect it. 2, pause before response. You ain't gotta respond in your emotion. That email, that message, that phone call, take a breath. Protect your peace before you defend your ego. 3, detach your identity from the moment. A failure isn't a label. A delay isn't a definition. Learn how to say, this hurt, but it didn't change who I am. 4, have healthy emotional outlets. Gym, journaling, prayer, walking in nature, screaming into a pillow if you have to. Get it out, but get it out in a way that feeds you, not breaks you. 5. Reframe setbacks. Every loss carries a lesson. Every pain has a purpose. You either learn from it or repeat it. You choose. It's about bouncing back from them. You want to reach the next level? Then you got to stop letting temporary emotions make permanent decisions. You can cry and still keep walking. You can grieve and still believe. You can feel every ounce of it and still rise up like, let's go. This ain't about being perfect. This is about being anchored. This is about learning how to hold yourself steady when everything else shakes. Because life is unpredictable, but your response, that can be trained, that can be matured, that can be grounded in faith and wisdom. And the ones who last, the ones who don't just touch success but stay successful, they don't let life dictate their character. They let pressure produce strength. They let pain birth purpose. They let every hit teach them how to move with grace and grit. So the next time life throws something at you, pause, breathe, respond with power. Because you were never called to break. You were called to build. Part 6, habit 6, lifelong learning. Let me put it straight. If you stop growing, you start dying. The most successful people in the world, they ain't just achievers, they're students. Every single day, you don't get to the top by knowing everything. You get there by knowing you don't. And here's what separates the average from the exceptional. The average says, I already know. The exceptional says, teach me more. Highly successful people, they don't get bored with basics. They read, they ask, they listen, they study. Folks smarter than them. They go to conferences, sit in small rooms, and take notes like their future depends on it, because it does. They stay hungry for wisdom. Let's break this down. 1, books are your mentors. You might not have access to millionaires, but you got their books, their podcasts, their stories. Learn from them. 10 pages a day will change your life in a year. 2, fail forward. Every mistake carries a message. Don't run from failure. Study it. What went wrong? What can be done better? Learn the lesson so you don't repeat the test. 3, surround yourself with teachers. Not just people who hype you, people who stretch you. Iron sharpens iron. And sometimes that means you gotta feel the friction. 4, be coachable. You don't need to be right all the time. You need to be open. Humility will take you places. Pride never will. 5, stay curious. Ask questions. Stay a student. The smartest people are always asking, how does that work? What am I missing? How can I grow here? Now let me say this loud and clear. Growth ain't just about knowledge, it's about humility. Because information without application is just noise. You gotta take what you learn and put it to work. That course you took, apply it. That book you finished, practice it. That advice you received, test it. This ain't about being perfect, it's about being in motion. Because the more you learn, the more you earn. The more you study, the more you stand out. The more you grow, the more you're trusted with greater. And here's the truth. The people who lead this world, the innovators, the moguls, the change makers, they all have one thing in common. They never stop learning. So invest in yourself, not just once, not just when it's convenient, but always, because your mind is your greatest asset. And if you feed it right, it will pay you back for a lifetime. Part 7, habit 7, ruthless time management. Let me tell you something. Successful people don't just manage time, they master it. They know time is their most valuable currency. You can make more money, you can find more connections, but you can't get back time. And highly successful people, they treat their minutes like millions. Every hour's on purpose. Every decision is calculated. And if it doesn't build their purpose, it don't belong on their calendar. Listen, people who waste your time, they're taking more from you than folks who rob your wallet. Because you can recover money, but you can't refund wasted years. Here's how the greats operate. 1 point, they plan before the world pulls. Every night, they know tomorrow before tomorrow begins. Mornings aren't reactive, they're intentional. This 2, they prioritize progress, not popularity. They don't fill their schedule with things that make them look busy. They focus on things that make them better. They block distractions, turn off the phone, close the tab, say no without guilt, protect your peak hours like gold. 4, they track their time. Look at where your hours go, you'll see your future. You ain't stuck, you're just undisciplined with your clock. Few, they schedule what matters. Success ain't just about work, it's about scheduling your health, your family, your faith, your restoration. That's what happens when your calendar is full, but your soul is empty. Let me say this, if your life feels out of control, check your schedule. If you don't have time for your dream, you're giving your dream away. If you don't have time for your family, you're letting the world raise your home. If you don't have time for your spirit, you're climbing success, but losing your peace. Highly successful people don't just keep appointments with others. They keep appointments with themselves. They don't wait for a crisis to get focused. They live focused. They understand that every yes to one thing is a no to something else. So they choose their yes with wisdom. Let me give you this. You were never meant to chase everything. You were meant to master your mission. And your mission, it needs a protected time zone, not just a dream list, a time slot. Because purpose without structure is just potential. So here's your challenge. Look at your week, audit your hours, clean your schedule like your life depends on it, because it does. And remember, it's not about how much time you have, it's about how you use what you've been given. The clock ain't slowing down, but you can speed up your destiny if you learn how to manage the moment. Part 8, habit 8, decisive action. Here's one thing successful people do different. They don't overthink for a lifetime. They don't sit on the fence till the wood wears out. They move, they make decisions, boldly, clearly, consistently. Even if the choice ain't perfect, they choose, because indecision is a thief. It robs your time, it steals your energy, and it keeps you living in a mental fog while your opportunity walks right past you. Let me tell you this, success don't wait on perfect timing. It rewards decisive action. That means make the call, launch the idea, end what needs ended, begin what's been begging to begin. Highly successful people don't get stuck in analysis paralysis. They get the info they need and then they leap. Here's how they think. 1, 80% clarity is enough to act. If you wait until you're 100% certain, you'll be 100 years old. Most clarity comes after you move. 2, they learn as they go. Perfection is not required. Movement is. They adjust mid-flight. They grow through doing. 3, they trust their instincts. Not every decision needs a committee. Trust the gut God gave you. That inner whisper, that's guidance. 4, they eliminate low-value decisions. Not everything deserves your deliberation. Save your brain power for what really matters. 5, they recover fast. If it fails, they pivot, they don't spiral, because a wrong step is better than standing still in fear. Let me hit you with this truth. Indecision is a form of self-sabotage. You're not waiting for the right moment, you're avoiding responsibility. And listen, successful people don't get everything right, but they get moving, and momentum beats perfection every time. Some folks been dreaming about stuff for 5, 10, 15 years, still waiting, still researching, still getting ready. But baby, you don't need more time, you need courage. Because when you move with courage, doors open. People show up, solutions unfold. Success ain't reserved for the smartest, it's reserved for the boldest. So the question ain't, what should I do? The question is, what's one thing I already know I need to act on? And why haven't I done it yet? Make the move, make the ask, make the shift, make the call. Because clarity lives on the other side of action. And highly successful people, they live on that side. Part 9, habit 9, purposeful rest. Let me say this loud. Rest is not weakness, it's wisdom. Highly successful people don't just know how to grind. They know how to pause with purpose. They don't wait until their body breaks down or their mind burns out. They rest before they're forced to. Because success that costs your peace ain't success. It's slow destruction in disguise. You see, the world will celebrate you when you're always on, always working, always booked and busy. But the wise ones, they know success is unsustainable without recovery. Rest doesn't mean doing nothing. Rest means doing what restores you. It means stepping away so you can come back stronger, refueling your spirit so you don't lose your spark, protecting your joy so your vision don't turn into a burden. Here's how successful people rest on purpose. 1, they schedule recovery. Just like meetings, just like deadlines, they block off time to be still, to laugh, to breathe. 2, they disconnect to reconnect. Phone off, emails pause, the world can wait. They don't live on notifications, they live on intention. They reflect often. Rest isn't just physical, it's mental, it's emotional. They ask, what do I need to release to feel free again? 4, they create boundaries around their peace. Rest starts with what you say no to. Every time you overcommit, you undercut your own wellness. 5, they invest in joy. Not just breaks, but breaks that light them up. Hobbies, nature, family, laughter. They remember that they're human beings, not human doings. Here's the thing, you can't pour from an empty soul. If your well runs dry, everything around you suffers. Your focus fades, your energy dips, your relationships fracture. But when you rest, you refuel, you get your fire back. You start moving with passion again instead of pressure. The grind is necessary, but the grind without grace, that's exhaustion waiting to happen. And let me give you permission today. You're allowed to rest without guilt. You're allowed to take a breath without explaining. You're allowed to protect your peace like it's sacred, because it is. Highly successful people don't just build, they maintain. They make sure the thing that drives them doesn't destroy them. So stop praising burnout. Start honoring balance, because your dream is big, but your peace has to be bigger. You're not lazy for resting. You're smart enough to know your limits and wise enough to know that being still is sometimes the most productive thing you can do. Part 10, habit 10, unshakable faith. Now we've come to the final habit. And if you ask me, this one right here, it holds everything else together. Because when the grind gets heavy, when the wait gets long, when nothing makes sense and all you got is a whisper inside that says, don't quit. That's not just mindset, that's faith. Highly successful people, they don't just believe in goals, they believe in something greater. They know this journey's too hard, too unpredictable, too full of mystery to walk alone. So they stay rooted in something deeper. Some call it God, some call it source, some call it spirit. but whatever you call it is that inner anchor that keeps you grounded when the world starts shifting. Let me tell you something. Faith ain't a Sunday activity. It's a daily decision. It's the thing that makes you keep going. When every voice in your head is screaming, you're not enough. Faith reminds you, you're not here by accident. You're not forgotten. Your story ain't over. Here's what highly successful people do with faith. 1, they start with prayer, not panic. Before decisions, they pause. Before deals, they seek peace. Before movement, they ask for clarity. 2, they walk by faith, not by sight, even when the outcome is uncertain, even when the numbers don't add up. They trust what they've been called to more than what they see. They release control. Success ain't about squeezing tight. It's about trusting the process, even the detours. 4, they speak life. They use their words to create, not complain, because faith speaks what's coming, not what's missing. 5, they remember who gave them the dream. It didn't come from trends. It didn't come from pressure. It came from purpose. And if God gave it to you, he will carry you through it. Faith doesn't mean you never doubt. It means you doubt and still show up. It means you cry and still press forward. It means you feel fear and still walk through the door, because faith is what fills the gaps. Discipline can't. It's what holds you when logic fails. It's what turns your voice from shaking to sure. You want to be great? Then build your life on something that doesn't move. Because success without faith, that's just noise with no peace. But success with faith, that's legacy. So as you close this chapter, as you walk away from these 10 habits, know this: your habits can shape your behavior, but your faith will shape your becoming. Stay anchored, stay grounded, keep the vision, trust the process, and know that whatever happens, whatever wins, whatever losses, if you walk by faith, you're never really walking alone.